what's the deal with certain people just not being able to do keto? They say, oh, I could never do keto. Hi, in case you're new to this channel, I'm Slick Nick, your personal keto bro. And no, I'm not a doctor, dietitian, nutritionist, personal trainer, nothing respectable. I'm just some random dude in Tennessee with a camera who's got a master's in bro science. I'm experimenting on myself, doing keto. Instead of being the critic, I'm actually the consumer of this concept. I'm experimenting on myself, a human experiment. You get to be entertained by it. You get to gain insight, but no part of this am I telling you to go keto. I don't care what you do. You're gonna do the thing that you wanna do. And that's largely what this video is about. People do the thing that they really want to do. And most people don't want to do keto. And I, as a libertarian, am completely comfortable in that. As a confident person, I'm completely comfortable with knowing that most people don't want to do keto, and that's fine. I want to do keto, so I'm doing it, and it makes me happy, and I'm seeing great results. But I don't care that other people do it. But it is interesting, as I've researched, what are the side effects of being keto? What's going to happen? And it's funny because one of them is that you're supposed to get constipated, which I made a video on that recently. I'm not constipated, I have no issues there. And amazingly, I don't fart anymore. I'm not making that up. Check out that video, that's here on the channel. Yeah, it's interesting how that works out. So you stop farting and you start losing fat and you have more energy and your hormone levels change because now you don't have insulin spiked and you don't have the cortisol if you're doing number 4 on my pillars of being keto, which is walking 2 to 3 miles a day and not running. If you want to see what the 5 pillars are, just look at this video right here and you can see my intro video on it. But ultimately, yeah, so here's what's funny. There are a lot of people who criticize keto. They'll come up with all these reasons why either you shouldn't do it or whatever, and they'll buy into that whole concept that it will cause heart disease, which the newer studies now are showing that it's actually not related to that. There's no proof that having higher cholesterol is actually related to heart disease. It was a bogus report from decades ago. You want to watch Fat Fiction on Amazon Prime? You should start there because that's where I did. That's what really opened my eyes and allowed me to stop being afraid of fat and instead filling up on fiber and fat. So as far as this concept of people will say, I could never do keto. And I say, yeah, one of the things people will say is, well, I would be hungry all the time. Or people have tried it and said, I was hungry all the time, I couldn't do it. Well, they weren't doing the 5 pillars of keto. What are the 5 pillars? Let's just review them real quick. Number 1, filling up on fat and fiber. Number 2, fasting. Number 3, drinking at least a gallon of water a day. That's 2 of these. Number 4, walking 2 to 3 miles a day, not running. And number 5, getting at least 7 hours of sleep. Those are the 5 pillars. You can check out that video right there. So fasting scares a lot of people. Like, well, why do I have to fast? Well, the whole concept is you're keeping your insulin from being triggered. So if you never spike your insulin by having any kind of carbohydrates, you're not hungry. And when you finally do eat, you eat fat instead of carbs. So that fills you up because the secret, that fills you up. Carbs make you hungry, and I've made videos on that. There's actually science behind how all that works. So yeah, but the whole insulin thing, it's a paradox. Insulin, so when you eat carbohydrates, it spikes your insulin. The insulin makes you hungrier, but if you never spike it, you don't get hungry. So that's why I'm not actually eating any food until the afternoon, like 2 o'clock, other than some NCT oil and butter in my coffee. But that's not spiking my insulin and it's not making me hungry. So people say, I could never do that. And here's the thing, to people who say I can never do it, you're right. Because one of my teachings is, anything you believe is true in your mind. If you believe it, it's true. If you believe you could never go keto, you never could. But ultimately, like I said at the beginning of this video, people do the thing that they really want to do. They find a way. Whatever the thing is that you want to do, that's what you're going to spend your time, energy, money, emotions. You're going to spend all that on the thing that you want. Even if that's helping another person. Maybe you're sacrificing something to help another person. Well, the reason you did it is because you wanted to do it. That's the reason we do anything, because we actually want to do it. If we don't want to do the thing, we don't do the thing. We find a way not to do the thing. If we want to do the thing, we find a way. And I found a way. And I found, man, this is easy. What a well-kept secret. That's the thing. It's like sometimes when there's such an obvious solution that's actually effective and efficient and easy, you're crazy for even talking about it. And I think that's what happens with keto. It gets associated with the poorest examples of it. So they'll look at someone who did dirty keto and just microwave bacon and lost their gut. They lost 45 pounds, and then they went back to eating junk food, and then that was the end of it. And they call that keto. And someone's, oh, that's what keto is? I don't want it. Well, that's not keto. That's sloppy, dirty keto that barely even counts as keto. That's not really doing it. Remember, we're looking at a lifestyle. We're looking at a cult here. It's ultimately what it is. It's like being in a cult when you're doing all these things. So if you want to do it, you'll do it. Now, I am telling you, the whole fasting thing, I want to be very clear. I'm not hungry. Yes, I don't eat any food until 2 p.m. I don't eat after 7 p.m. I eat just between a 5-hour window. And I don't eat really any carbs until the very end of the day, and it's less than 50 grams. But I'm not hungry. Carbs make you hungry. Protein and fat specifically keeps you from being hungry. And if you never open that door by having carbs in the morning, you don't get hungry. It's very simple, but most people have never done that. They've never tried it. Your comments belong right here. Keep in mind, anything you really want to do, you're going to find a way to do it or not to do it. But I'm telling you, I'm not going around hungry. That's not my experience. In fact, this is the least hungry I've ever been. That's one of the glorious things about this, is I don't have to even think about, oh, I'm hungry, what am I going to eat? Oh no, am I going to eat too many calories? Those thoughts don't go through my mind anymore. Those aren't issues I run into. I'm not counting calories. I'm just ultimately, when I finally need to eat, consuming fat, protein, and fiber. I'm doing that twice a day, and my insulin hardly gets spiked. It's less, between 25 and 50 grams of carbohydrates a day. So I'm happier. I'm not hungry. I'm not starving. I'm not I'm not stressed out. It's a good thing. I'm happy because I really want to do it.